4K resolution with dash cameras, it's slowly becoming a more reasonable choice, especially price-wise. But is paying a few dollars more to get greater resolution really worth the money? Let's find out! Welcome, Tech4O channel, my name is Michael and this is one of the very few dashcam reviews I'm doing lately. This market is already quite saturated and among the hundreds of good options, we can notice the increase of 4K capable devices. If you're wondering why we're still not having too many options, the reason is easy to explain by analyzing the hardware included. The physical size of sensors and lenses is still about the same as it used to be a couple of years ago. However, nowadays, sensors offer much greater pixel density, meaning that each individual pixel is fighting for a little piece of that light. The more the pixels, the smaller the share of light for each one. And the bottom line is that you might find a 2-megapixel sensor, which is enough for 1080p resolution, to have better low-light performance than an 8-megapixel sensor. And I'm mentioning 8 megapixels because that's the minimum which is suitable for 4K. This is also the reason most smartphones that have spectacular specs like 64 or 108 megapixel sensors to often use the so-called stacking, where in low-light conditions the sensors are actually working at decreased amount of pixels in order to enable individual pixels to get more light. After saying all that, maybe you don't have too high expectations from the performance in low light from today's gadget, the MyGekogear's Orbit 960. But let's see if you're going to change your opinion. In short, this is a 4K dashcam, only a front module, and the first MyGekogear device supporting 4K, utilizing an innovative Sony Starvis sensor. The price is also not bad. While I'm testing, the dashcam is conveniently discounted down to $130, which made its Amazon stock go away in just a few days, but seems to still be available on MyGekogear's official website. And of course, make sure to check the video description for a link to the best possible deal I managed to find for you. It's quite hard to compare the Orbit 960 to other devices. I'd say it's similar to the 70mm Pro with higher resolution. There are two 4K dashcams I've already tested, the Blackview DR900S, which I keep using as a primary dashcam for more than 2 years now, and the Viofo A129 Pro. Both of these cameras are significantly more expensive. Unboxing of the Orbit 960 felt alright. The main unit, charging cable with micro USB connector, a single port card adapter that goes in the cigar lighter, and if you need the camera to record 24/7, think about getting a hardwire kit. There also is a 16GB micro SD card included in the package, which with the bandwidth that the camera needs in 4K, occupying around 160 megabytes for 1 minute of recording, you can record around an hour and a half. Meaning that you better get a larger card, 64 or even better, 128 gigs. I really like the form factor and the design. It's meant to look like metal, but is of course plastic. The dashcam holder could be adhesive based or with a suction cup, and as usually I'm going to recommend using a cheap smartphone screen protector folio for being able to quickly remove in case it's needed. If you want to hear about the specs, you may actually like them. Sony Starvis 317, that's the image sensor, high silicon 3559 processor, 140-degree field of view, driver fatigue warning, motion detection in case it's hardwired, and parking mode, again with hard wiring, 320 mAh battery, 2.7-inch LCD screen, Wi-Fi, GPS. The list of good features is pretty long. Having trouble understanding the specs? Let me simplify that for you. Sensor and processor combination is similar to the one used in many great action cams, and the processor is preferred for many camera makers these days. There also is a smartphone app in case you want to download some of the recordings on the go, and GPS to keep you up to date with the exact speed when you're driving. So let's quickly go through the installation and talk about the software features and performance after that. If you're not going to add a hardwire kit, it's gonna be super easy to get it installed. You need the unit with the mount, just find a good spot on the windshield, make sure it's not in your view line of sight. The way I'm doing it is just to show you the concept, and I put the dashcam at a place which is not recommended. Try to never have objects blocking the visibility in front of the driver's seat. All we have to do, tighten the suction cup, connect the cable, gently find a good way to hide the cable behind the car's interior, and plug the other side of the cable in the car cigar lighter, as easy as that. Concerning configuration, it works fine out of the box, power on the car, and the dashcam automatically starts recording, turn off the engine, and the dashcam stops recording. If the car is full, it's automatically going to delete the oldest events, which reminds me to mention that supported are microSD cards up to 512 gigs. In the menus, which are by the way controllable through mechanical buttons, there are a lot of config options, recording resolutions, picture adjustments, even wide dynamic range, which doesn't seem to do much anyways. The GPS is on all the time, which is great, and there's a safety warning system which I kept off most of the time because it's annoying. I really like the smart detection system of the dashcam. It shows light sign when the environment suddenly changes. Let's say you enter a tunnel or a garage. I guess this triggers a special mode for low light recording, likely similar to the pixel stacking I talked about at the beginning of the video. The low light footage here was better than what I expected, but still off from some of the good 1080p Sony Starvis sensors. Another interesting observation, however also a little disappointing, was to find out that 4K bitrate is about 20 megabits per second. It is supposed to be about 4 times more than Full HD, and seems to be only just a little better, meaning that even if you're using 4K, the details are going to be as much as in 1080p approximately. Furthermore, I noticed that the sensor is reacting very bad on direct sunlight, and often when the sun was going straight into the camera, the footage looked pale. Also, the picture is rather soft. I've tried adding a little more sharpness in post-production, and I think it looks much better like that. Also, the processor, it supports H.265 compression, however that seems not to be enabled due to some reason. I guess this can roll out as a firmware update at some point. At least, having the app was good experience. It has pretty poor rating in Play Store, maybe among the lowest scores I've ever seen, but worked fine, and I guess that score is because other models didn't work that well. You know, this device, it's giving me hard time. While I generally like a lot MyGekogear devices, this one feels undercooked. I think a firmware update can enhance a lot the image quality and increase the effectiveness of 4K. On the other hand, having GPS, Wi-Fi, smart features, support for a huge microSD card and a Sony Starvis sensor together with 4K sounds like a great deal. But remember that by the time making the video, there barely is any difference between 1080p and 4K as recorded with the current firmware. Definitely there's room for improvement, but also a device that served me well and was very reliable and stable. I've kept it for a week under direct sunlight in Greece this summer, so I think overheating and such problems are out of the picture, which is also great news. With mixed feelings, we're wrapping up this video, and I'd like to hear from you. Did you like the footage shot with the MyGekogear Orbit 960? Any other cool 4K dashcams that you can recommend? Do you prefer decent 1080p over experimental or half-baked 4K? Let's talk about all that in the comments below. I'm Michael, it's been great to see you around. Don't miss the chance to make something good for me. Support the channel by hitting the like and subscribe buttons at least. And in case you want to see more details about the products, you're going to find the links in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.